Good afternoon, I'm Milton Walker with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Political analysts are keeping a close eye on the marginal seat of Northwest St. Anne on election night. The extra outlook comes as the constituency will see a third candidate vying for the seat. O'Shane Masters picks up that story.
The People's National Party, PNP, has won the St. Anne Northwest seat on more occasions than the JLP has. Since the seat was first contested in 1962, the JLP has won on 4 occasions, 1980 with Princess Laws, 2002 with Verna Parchment, and 2007 with Othniel Lawrence. The party also took the seat in 1983 when the PNP boycotted the general election. But the Jamaica Labour Party's caretaker for the constituency, Crystal Lee, is adamant she will take the seat from the PNP's Dr. Dayton Campbell.
I see myself definitely winning the seat and bringing it home.
She says this is evident as some constituents are not pleased with the representation from the two-term MP.
And I'm not seeing that work and effort from the Member of Parliament. We're seeing roads where the conditions are very bad, and I'm not seeing that as well. I'm not seeing where the effort is being placed to build the communities and work with the people.
We've always been putting in work. When we look at the politics, it's all about the organization of the constituency, which we've always been focused on. Throughout the term when they were targeting, we were also targeting the constituency.
But there seems to be trouble in the PNP camp, as one of its supporters has broken ranks with the party. Businessman Peter Shan says he too is not satisfied with the representation of Dr. Campbell. He says the MP has not been vocal in taking the plight of the people to Parliament.
When you go around and listen to the farmers' plight, I tell you, it's appalling. Fertilizers, seeds, these are the things that they need. When you think of the COVID, if we don't try to feed ourselves at this time, we are going to be in big trouble.
But despite the challenge, the PNP says it has full confidence in Dr. Campbell.
We are not worried about the independent candidate in the race. We're not worried about any other candidate. We are focused on running our own campaign, and Dayton is running a solid campaign.
Remember that they said that no weapon formed against me will prosper. It means that the weapons will form, but they won't prosper. The fact of the matter is that the people of the constituency know that we have put in the work. They know why persons are doing what they're doing, and we're not being distracted by that.
But for the independent Shan and the JLP's Lee, MP Campbell is all talk and no action.
What I'm hearing on the ground from the people is going to put me there. They say it's the first time in over 20 years that I've seen a person come and put their money where their mouth is.
The people of Northwest St. Anne, it has been a constituency that historically they vote for their voices to be heard. If they believe that they are not being represented well, they have always voted for that, and I can tell you that is the sentiment on the ground. The people are tired of persons sitting in Parliament and not representing them well, doing the work to build the community, and they are ready to go out and make their mark.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Peter Bunting, is confident that he will win his seat for a 4th term in the next general elections. Mr. Bunting says he's depending on his team's track record of performance in the constituency to convince voters that he's the right man for the job. He was speaking recently at the opening of a divisional office and resource centre in Knockpatrick.
I challenge Andrew Honis to point to the track record in his own constituency to see if it can match the one in central Manchester. Even though he has been there longer than I have been here. When you start with education, we have added 2,000 new quality high school spaces in this constituency. I call myself jokingly a one-man jump rope, a central Manchester investment promotion officer. And I went and beat the pavement until we got Sutherland Global to open a call center and employ 2,000 young people in this constituency and across the parish. Performance do that. Not motor.
Clarendon Custos William Chigori says Jamaicans visiting from overseas are contributing to the spike in COVID-19 cases in Clarendon. He was speaking at an Independence Day flag-raising ceremony in Maypen yesterday, hours after the community of Sandy Bay was placed under a quarantine.
Come for funeral for 4 or 5 days, leave the phone at home and all over the place. The Salt River bath is another problem. You pass there today, and you have 300, 400, or 500 of them in the bath, like so. When you look, you see one poor police car out there. You need a whole battalion to get them out of the water.
The quarantine will run for 14 days and end on August 20 at 6 a.m. It's the second community in southeast Clarendon to be placed under quarantine since the coronavirus was detected in Jamaica. Cornpeace was placed under quarantine from March 19 to April 17 after a 79-year-old man from the area died from COVID-19 related complications. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has issued a Level 3 warning to Jamaica as a result of the COVID-19. But Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says persons should not read too much into it, as the government does not see it as damaging in terms of visitor arrivals. Shamela Pulling reports.
On Thursday, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, warned that COVID-19 risk in Jamaica is high. The CDC recommended that travelers avoid all non-essential international travel to Jamaica. Some examples of essential travel may include traveling for humanitarian aid work, medical reasons, or family emergencies. It also said older adults, people of any age with certain underlying medical conditions, and others at increased risk for severe illness should consider postponing all travel, including essential travel to Jamaica. According to the CDC, if someone gets sick in Jamaica and need medical care, the resources may be limited. But Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the listing is in line with most countries around the world, and so that was expected.
Tier 3 doesn't say you mustn't travel. What it says is that you take precaution in terms of, the element of COVID incidences in those areas. So the truth is that we do not see this as being a necessarily damaging situation insofar as visitor arrivals may be concerned. But it certainly does highlight Jamaica and, and put us in focus, because I think what we are seeing is that the advisors are naming countries, in a specific way now.
Senior advisor in the Tourism Ministry, Delano Seafright, argued that a lot of American travelers do not take into consideration these advisories. But with the government implementing a COVID-19 resilience corridor, the tourism minister believes that will offer some reassurance to visitors to the island.
I think that we have to continue to manage and to do better and to make sure that at all times we are observing the protocols, and we are making sure that our own reputation for managing well continues to go abroad, so as to improve at all times the acceptability of our destination to the rest of the world.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
We take a break now on Midday News. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Continuing the news. The Police High Command is reporting that 5 cold cases have been cleared up with the deaths of 6 of Clarendon's most wanted criminals during a pre-dawn operation on Sunday. The men were killed during a shootout with members of the Jamaica Defence Force. In a media release today, the Police High Command said witnesses have begun to come forward with information as the gangsters' stranglehold on the community has loosened. The High Command says so far they have solved at least 2 murders, 2 cases of shooting with intent, and the rape of a 13-year-old girl. The police say eyewitnesses have corroborated evidence linking slain reputed gang leader 29-year-old Leon Rose, otherwise called Hitler, and another gang member to an incident that occurred on April 25, 2018. 25-year-old Romain Miller, otherwise called X-Man, was shot dead while another man was shot and injured on the Effortdale Main Road in Clarendon. Rose has also been linked to a June 13, 2018 case of shooting with intent in Effortville. He is also accused of raping a 13-year-old girl at gunpoint in Effortville on May 17 last year as she made her way home from school. And still in Clarendon, the police say they have intercepted several persons of interest during a roadblock earlier this week. The identities of the men have not been revealed, but they were being sought in relation to ongoing criminal investigations in the parish. The dragnet that nabbed the men is part of a 60-day crime reduction strategy launched by the security teams in Clarendon to help maintain reductions in murders and other major crimes in the parish. The police say the regular operations are to ensure the gains made against criminals are not lost over the second half of the year.
The operational activities that the Clarendon police have embarked on for the past couple of weeks. What we were doing today is a deliberate and strategic roadblock, and this is in keeping with our 60-day crime reduction plan. We intend to curtail the movement of the itinerant criminals that would want to traverse this space. Today we would have stopped in excess of 100 vehicles. Over 400 persons were searched. Some offensive weapons were also confiscated, and we have also detained some persons who we believe are persons of interest to us. We will be conducting further investigations to see how that pan out.
Law enforcement in Clarendon have been busy this week. On Sunday, 6 gangsters were killed when they engaged the security forces in Effortville on Sunday. 3 high-powered weapons were also seized in that operation. And the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, is hailing the success of the security forces in apprehending a number of persons wanted for various offences in St. James.
Because after nearly 2 years of special security operations, those who are SOEs, the police, with the support of the army, have certainly regained the confidence of the citizens. Of course, it also reflects their competence in that they have been able to do investigation, identify problems and deal with them.
Dr. Chang was speaking to journalists after the St. James Municipal Corporation's Independence Day Civic and Awards ceremony yesterday. 14 persons and 2 entities were recognized for work in the fields of community development, education, agriculture, tourism, sport and religion. The event was held at the Montego Bay Cultural Centre. And we go now to issues of development in Hanover. Some citizens complain that not enough has been done since independence in 1962 to improve the parish.
58 years of independence, and while development is taking place at a rapid pace in some parishes, others not so much, like Lucy Hanover. Major businesses have been pulling out of the parish, including banks. Long before COVID-19, citizens have been forced into online transactions for bill payment and banking. For those who are unable to, they make the journey to Montego Bay in St. James or Westmoreland. Senior citizens have had difficulties embracing the online culture.
No, I don't understand about the online.
It's a mad busy. Me can't manage. Me can't go online. For me, in a age now, and I can't know how to read line. So me not tell you no lie. I'm 70 years old now. So when me go online, me can't read it.
I think they need to upgrade the town. Upgrade the town. They might take out too much business space to leave out of Hanover. Too much business space to leave.
The issue of development falls partly under the responsibility of the Hanover Municipal Corporation. Sheridan Samuels is the mayor of Lucy.
We have employed a physical planner who really is responsible for the development, sustainable development plan for the parish itself. So we are on the verge of getting that done. It is in progress.
In the interim, he says the municipal corporation intends to engage private investors for opportunities in tourism. But since the pandemic, these plans have been put on hold. In the interim,
we are encouraging small businesses to really move at it now. Now is the time to move at it because hotels closing, we have to be more self-reliant now in terms of getting involved in opening our small business here and there so that we can survive.
There's that and agriculture.
We're engaging RADA. We're going out there talking to the farmers. You know, we are encouraging them. I am going to speak to the councillors on this matter because we have to concentrate more on agriculture.
But given that for decades there's been little progress, some question whether it will take another 58 years before any plan for development in the parish is realized. Janella Precious, TVJ News.
Residents of Golden Grove Meadows in St. Thomas have taken to the streets to protest against what they claim is a poor treatment being meted out to them by the Jamaica Public Service. We have more in this report.
Despite celebrating 58 years of independence and the achievements in nation building, there are many Jamaicans who are still without electricity. That's the reality of residents in Golden Grove Meadows in St. Thomas. They are upset with the JPS because of what they describe as unfair treatment being meted out to them.
I'm quite aware now we've been experiencing some bill. Very, very large, high light bill. Me not see where me about to pay for that. See, me not see where me about to pay for.
Me see some $12,000 bill come. Me no say me burn it, me no say me no burn it, but me only have a fridge and a TV right now burning the current. So I don't know where those high bills coming from.
I'm not working, and the big light bill them, I can't stand it. I have some bill for you right now because one bill 25,000. Me have one cow. Me have to sell the cow to pay my light bill. Go back again, the other one come up, was at 13 or 14,000. You know, I no money. One hag me have to sell the cow. Me no have nothing more now. Nothing left.
The issue of electricity is not the only problem facing the residents, as many persons do not have land titles. They say this has resulted in delays in their plans to renovate their homes.
And for we live up here, they matter about title, and on title can come true. And me want add my house, add at least 1 or 2 rooms. So yeah, when me I go do now, you see if they not coming consequence the title something or whatever, me I go ahead and add on when more have on. Because one girl pit me have with 4 boy pitney.
And the sewage system again.
With 4 boy pitney and the one girl pitney can't live in one room with 4 boy pitney. So me I go do what me have to do.
We're up here actually
5 years.
Nearly 5 years now. We doesn't even have a title. We might have in them house here, but we're out.
Exactly.
We have a lot of concerns and we don't see nobody. And the only time we see a government representative is when election.
The disgruntled residents have threatened to take the protest to the parish office in Morant Bay if there is no response from the relevant authorities.
Since the decline in sugarcane industry, farmers in Westmoreland have been focusing on producing alternative crops. The farmers say recently there has been an influx of pineapples, so much so there isn't enough land space to contain the produce.
And what we'll have to do going forward based on the expansion of pineapple cultivation in the parish, we will have to look on agro-processing to take in some of this crop when it produced locally by some of these farmers within the parish.
But while things may be looking fruitful for the farmers, they say irrigation is a challenge. They argue that while agricultural centres in the parish try to help, it's not enough.
We're trying to get some irrigation from National Irrigation. They came, spoke to us about 3 months now. Nothing happened. The plant can't wait on them before we start planting them. We have to make sure we do what we have to do, so they're taking too long to respond.
In a TVJ News follow-up, Member of Parliament for West Central St. James, Marlene Mallow-Hufort, is rejecting claims that she ordered the security forces to shut down an event on Crawford Street in the constituency. Residents were left disappointed after the plug was pulled on in the middle of an Emancipation Day fun day in the area. It was organised by PNP caretaker candidate Dr. Andre Horton, prompting assertions that the move by the police was politically motivated.
I'm happy that something could even be planned in the interest of the people. So having put the hopes of the people up He failed to respect the law, he failed to apply for the permits, and so the police did what they had to do.
More calls for Jamaica to cut ties with the British monarchy. A new advocacy group from Westmoreland is on a mission to press the authorities to abolish British influence practices in Jamaica. First on the list, the wig worn by parliamentarians in Parliament.
Old British colonial system. It used to be worn by the judges and the lawyers in court. Since recently, it has been abolished. But when we go to the Privy Council, we still use it. I hope next time we meet here, we'll meet under a Republic of Jamaica and not under the Queen of England.
They want more Jamaicans to pattern other pro-black initiatives such as the International Black Lives Matter movement.
But I'm sure that as the years go on, especially with respect to what is happening in North America and elsewhere with the rising of the Black Lives Matter, we will see more and more persons gravitating towards this new development.
In news overseas, an Air India Express plane with 191 people on board has crashed at an airport in the southern Indian state of Kerala, killing at least 3 people. CNN is reporting that a pilot and 2 passengers are dead. The aircraft, en route from Dubai, skidded off the runway at Calicut Airport upon landing. During heavy rainfall, the aircraft broke into 2 pieces. The flight had been bringing back Indians from abroad amid the coronavirus pandemic. In sports, Jamaican Fabian Allen has been ruled out of this month's Caribbean Premier League after missing his flight from Jamaica to Barbados. Allen was to represent the St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in the tournament. The 25-year-old and has been replaced by Trinidad and Tobago leg spinner Imran Khan. Rassi van der Dusen was unable to confirm his travel plans, and his place was taken by batsman Nick Kelly. The 25-year-old all-rounder has made 337 runs at a strike rate of 181.18 in 2 seasons with the Patriots. And that's Midday News. I'm Milton Walker. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.